Hello everybody, I'm Lorii Abela, your soulmate expert and Asian matchmaker. Welcome to tonight's episode of Matchmaker Secrets, where we talk about love, dating, and relationships. And apparently I have realized that one of the most important reasons why most singles are not actually getting into a relationship is because of their fear of independence. So how many are saying like, yeah, that's correct, I'm scared? So we will be going deep dive into that so that you'll have more perspective. So how can you manage that independent situation in a relationship? So the first thing that I'm gonna run down the items that we'll be talking about. So the first is, of course, communication. Then we're gonna go to setting boundaries, then pursuing your interest, and then respect of each other's space, and then maintaining your own identity. So as far as communication is concerned, we have always heard that communication is very important in any relationship. So I will attest that that's really very, very important. So that will help you understand each other's person's needs and then expectations and boundaries. And we can create a very healthy relationship just in case that we are actually having communication within the relationship and having a personal independence. So you have to be able to identify what are your needs and expectation, because like obviously if you don't communicate it, then the other person will not have any clue. And you have to remember that men or women cannot read your mind. So obviously most of the time, like we will be always thinking like, okay, how come he didn't, even give me some respect? But they cannot even even Christopher Reeves or Superman can read your mind. So it's not like they are so good at it. So that's the reason why even the book Mars and Venus came around, because nobody has any clue. So if you ask men, like, what is their opinion, they will just, say it to you like they don't really have much to say, but they're just being honest, because like, your thinking is going to be different from theirs, because like, you have to remember there's much more masculinity in them rather than, having femininity. So that's a big difference already right away over there. And then you also have to identify how much alone time do you need. And then like, do you want to be socializing with your family or your friends and, your colleagues at work? And so once you have, established that, then you have much more understanding how will you be together in a relationship and avoid misunderstandings. Nobody wants misunderstandings, because like, if you're not happy with each other, then this misunderstanding arises and, you cannot actually be at peace. And who wants to be not at peace? And so you have to listen very, very carefully to what your partner is saying. Just take it so much literally, because that's the way things are. Like, men are just like straight to the point. They will not actually like, go around the bush, then this is what I want and then this is what I need. And so like, just honor that. And then even though you don't understand what's their perspective, just believe that that's what they need. And then just try to have an open mind, because like if you don't have an open mind, then like you're already shutting him down. Or the same thing with the guy. Like obviously you don't understand the women's perspective. Just don't try to be defensive or dismissive about the whole situation, because like if you just start to roll your eyes, like that's not the way to deal with it. Obviously, like you're already showing contempt, and contempt in any relationship is not so good. And so you have to find a solution which works both for you. So find out where can you be in the middle or something. So just compromise with each other. And then you can also do some regular check-ins and outs usually, so that you can have a healthy communication. If your partner is the type of person who's always making sure that you are safe, just communicate, because like otherwise they will be saying like, oh, okay, they didn't give me any importance. Like, just for example, like my husband always makes sure that I am getting to where I am supposed to go. So like, before we actually start the recording over here, I have to report, oh, okay, I'm already here. And so like, before I leave the studio, then I'll also have to report, oh, I'm leaving already. So more or less, he has an idea what time I'm gonna be arriving at home. So by making sure that, you have this regular communication, you're validating each other. So the same thing with the setting boundaries. So you have to be actually setting these boundaries ahead of time. So even before you establish being in a serious relationship, like be on the guard, because like, that's the start of everything. So you have to have a specific pattern. And so you also have to remember that those boundaries doesn't stay as it is. So it has to be like check regularly to find out, like, are they still the same kind of boundaries? You'll never know. I have a friend, the boundaries that he has set for his current wife now is just make sure that you don't touch that black book. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he has girlfriends on the side over there. It's just like, I have no idea what is he hiding over there. Maybe some important things which is very specific for him that he doesn't want, or he's not ready in order to show the partner. So just be respectful of what the boundaries that they are setting. And so also be able to identify what's important for you, because like if you don't identify what it is, like how can you even share what are your boundaries if you're not even telling that to yourself, like, oh, okay, this is what are my boundaries. But you have to make sure also that you are actually, aside from setting that boundaries and identifying them, like also regularly check it, because like if you are not self-reflecting, then you'll never know, or somebody or your partner has actually done something which is you're not happy about, then you'll recognize, oh, that's something that I will be adding into my boundaries, because we all grow up somehow in different levels. You have different people who's affecting your perspective. So it can be the people who you go and regularly meet, maybe the people at your work, the people that you play sports with, or the people that you are actually regularly hanging out, like the people who are your friends or even your families. They can also affect you as an individual. But you have to remember, most of the time, whatever your beliefs and values are already established way beforehand. Like, we have gathered them when 0 to 7 years old. We have established that particular idea, like, what are my values? And so you just have to be specific with them, because as I was saying, like, they can always change in any given time. And also be very specific, because like you might say, like, okay, be honest. And so what does that mean? Like, what does specifically mean? Everybody has their own interpretation. If I ask, like, you can do that. Ask anybody at your home, what does honesty mean to you? And then you ask the other person, what does honesty mean to you? And then ask the other person, what does honesty mean to you? Everybody will have a different definition. Believe me, because you can try it, and nobody's going to give you the same kind of definition. And remember that these boundaries are not actually rules. They are just guidelines. So don't make it like, okay, you have to be strict. You have to be strict. It doesn't have to be that way. You have to understand each other, and so like give each other some space in order to recognize what are those. And then make sure also that, earlier I was saying that, you have to be able to be respectful. So respect is a very, very broad topic, but it's very, very important, because if you think about it, like, you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings or your partner's feelings. And the same thing with you. You don't want to be hurt. So just make sure that you have that particular respect with each other, and be also firm in your beliefs, because like we cannot just be like, poking you, like, you have to change that belief. No. So let's say your partner is actually a natural introvert. You cannot just say like, okay, let's hang out and then meet those people. If they're really like an introvert, they just want to stay home. And so, maybe they'll occasionally go out with you just for the sake of like, giving you some time together with other people, but they're just there to support you, not necessarily just like, to be mingling with other people as much as they can. Most of the introverts, they'd rather hang out with 1 or 2 person, but not too much people. And then when you are actually respectful, you are actually building trust, and that makes the other person secured in your relationships. So remember that boundaries, again, can change, and then you have to reassess them. And then the next one is actually pursuing your interest. Um, Before I even got married, so I already have the natural inclination of always meeting different people from different locations and hanging out in different networking events, and then like, so, throwing parties here and there. And so when my husband met me, so he already knew how I do things. And so I celebrate my birthday every year. So because like I'm thinking like, okay, you only celebrate your birthday every year. Why not, do it like every year? Because like it's it's not for the gifts that you're there in order to celebrate your birthday, but it's also for the idea like, that's your special day. And so like, it's something which is important for me because like, there's already a lot of people who's going to be surrounding you, the people that you love and the people that you care for. And so, yeah, just make it like a priority if that thing is important for you. Whatever is important for you, just try to itemize them because you can just go around different hobbies, whatever is interesting for you. Maybe you like golf, or maybe you like just going to the spa and you don't like sports or whatever. So just be specific of what you exactly need. So for me, like I write a list of all those things that I really enjoy. So first one, of course, like I like traveling. So I'll put over there like travel. If I cannot go like travel far away, so I just go local. And then like just the mere fact of just being outside, or maybe going to the state park, or maybe to go to a hotel just for an overnight, I feel like I am rejuvenated. So just set aside and put that into a list so you can have multiple ideas in your pocket so that you have different things that you can do. So you can have all of those filled up as a tank in order to make sure that you are fulfilled. And then also, it's important to encourage your partner to have their own particular interest because you just want them to also have enjoyment. So if they're the type who's regularly hanging out with their friends, or if you have children, some people are divorced, and so like, more or less they have children. So if they really like being supportive of their children, so they can actually go to the different events and actually be able to meet up with the other parents of those children. And so like make that as a group if you don't have so much time. And then you have to remember, once you have children, then like, the more specific that you're going to be able, set your boundaries and pursue your interests, because you want to have your own personal time. Otherwise, you will not be happy with your relationship, because like all of your life and time is going to be just for your children. I have a friend, that's what he was always complaining about. Like, I have to drive my children to different practice here and there, and then like after that, we have to go to maybe a McDonald's, because they're children, they like this kind of stuff, so they will be going to the McDonald's, and though that's their only regular routine, and they're not having any more time for themselves. And so like sometimes you have to even push them, okay, you have to go and have a haircut because like you don't have any more body in your hair. So make sure that you're actually taking care of yourself. And then once you have actually asked your partner to have their own interests, then you have actually helped them value their being individual as a person. And that will also create independence on them. And then that will actually create respect and trust among you. And then, of course, there are some times that couple meets and they already have a common interest. That's a good one, because like you can share different interests, but sometimes don't count on them that they're always going to be there for different events. Maybe like, let's say both of you likes bowling, and one person probably would just like to go bowl with the ladies, and then one time like he would like to go and bowl with the men. So just give them that space, so you'll have at least like different perspective. Okay, you have something else different to share about, so you'll say like, oh, okay, I had a good time together with the guys, like we went drinking after this bowling. So yeah, it's a clear cut of what exactly will make you happy and also pursue your interests in order to be independent. And then the next one is actually respect each other's space. So when we're respecting each other's space, if they just want to be quiet, give them some quiet space. If they're about to be blurting in anger, so give them space, because like most of the time, that anger is just starting to be so massive. And so like, it depends what is their culture. If they're probably from Hispanic background, like, they was just throw away things. But just give them space, because like obviously if you'll be talking to them, trying to make sure that it's fixed right away, it's not going to happen, because like what is going to do, what's going to happen is that you'll just be ending up shouting at each other. So as much as possible, like, beforehand, you already tell them, like, if you'll be mad at me for something, like, I want to be able to give space for you so that we can talk, and then we can talk with respect and in a calm manner. Because you don't want each other to be also hurt, because when you are in the midst of anger, then that's the time that you will say some words which you don't really think about, because like it's just the spur of the moment. It is just going to come to you. And then another thing about specifically on respect for each other's space is you can also talk about your finances. So when you talk about finances, you have to be able to have your own sense of independence. Maybe you can have joint account for something specific that you would like to spend on, or maybe you would like to have like your own account, but you just contribute to whatever expenses that you have. But as much as possible, like talk it out. If you are going to be sharing the responsibility of paying for some stuff at home. So it's always nice to have your own bank account, because like you can buy whatever you want. So like, it can be like you can buy your own shoes. You don't have to ask permission. We all know that women like shoes. And then the same thing like bags as well. So you don't have to be wondering like, okay, I want that Louis Vuitton bag, but I cannot, ask my husband. If you have a joint account, like, they will not probably say like, okay, go ahead, honey. Unless you're very ultra rich that you don't care about how much is going to be the cost of everything. And so the same thing with men. Maybe they want to have the specific gadget that they really want, and then you don't want to be all the time like asking permission and giving them like, the privilege of just saying yes or no, because like, of course, you just want to have your own space as well as far as the finances is concerned. And then you have to talk this out as well beforehand, before you actually go into that particular relationship, because you have to remember, you only are not talking about the time that you don't have children. When you have children, then you have to still think about what are you going to be spending together in order to finance the education of your child. And so you have to also think about how about retirement savings for buying a home. So there are many, many things that you have to consider, which will be like a joint responsibility for both of you. And then you have to always be transparent of where your financial status is, because if you don't, it's going to be difficult. And you have to remember that that's one of the reasons why couples divorce. Like it's not necessarily like, it's even couples, maybe even those people who are just in a relationship. And so, yeah, you have to identify what's specifically are your financial priorities, and you have to work as a team. And so it varies. Like, if one person is probably earning much, much more, then like maybe they would like to contribute much, much more as compared if you're just earning a minimal income. And so also depends on you. If you're like both of you are earning a lot, so maybe you want to do a 50-50 split. So I have had one client, and for her, she wants the guy to be paying all the expenses, but she is okay with paying all the expenses for travels. And I say like, okay, that's great. Maybe because she's really interested with traveling, that's the reason why she has that as her objective. And then make sure that also you have your own credit score. So just don't count on the other person, because like obviously you have to make sure that you can be able to maintain your integrity as far as like where you are financially, to make sure that just in case that you need to borrow some money, then you have some backup in order to make things happen. And then the last one is maintaining your identity. So we don't want to be a clone of the partner that we have. So it's not like the mini-me, what is the title of that movie? I don't remember now, but I think Austin Powers something. So he has a mini-me. So you don't want your partner to be your mini-me. So you cannot just be the same all the time. And it's going to be boring anyway. You don't want to be marrying somebody who's a mini-you, because as I was saying, it's going to be boring. You're just going to be having everything the same. And so there's no more space for difference, and then there's nothing really much to talk about, because you're just like, you think alike, you speak alike, so you're just like the other person. So also build a system of support from whoever they are. So it can be your family, it can be your friends, or it can be your family therapist, or whoever support that you believe that you can count on. So just like me, I live here originally by myself in Chicago, and I only have some friends. And so more or less I consider them my family, except of course when I got married, then that's the time that I actually have a family that I can say on my own, but we don't have children, so it's just me and my husband. So just be firm in making sure that you have your own identity in order to be happy and more or less independent in your relationship. So let's go back to them again. So there are 5 of them. So we have to have communication, because communication is very important in any relationship. Like, make sure that you talk things out. Then you have to set your own boundaries. So boundaries meaning like you have to be able to find out what up to what level are you be able to compromise on things, and then pursue your interests, whatever interest that you have. Like, don't give up, because once you give up your interests, some stuff can happen. Like, I have a friend, she gave up her interests, and so she just takes care of her child, and so the end result is she gained a lot of weight, and that was not the person that I have known when she was single. So just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So respect each other's space. Divide your finances in order that you'll have your own account, and then also have a particular time that you can be on your own alone, just in case that you want to go to the spa or something. Just have your own alone time. And you also have, of course, to talk about like how much alone time you need. And then, of course, the last one is maintain your identity. Once you have maintained your identity, then everybody is gonna see like who you are really, and you're just separate from the partner that you have. So there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for your time. And then for the benefit of those people who are watching, we're always on the lookout for experts in love, dating, and relationship industry. Or if you're single, just give us a holler, because we want to help you navigate through love, dating, and relationship. So I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.